Welcome into the Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, and our good friends at Brotherwell Brewing, alongside Steve May and Grayson Grundhafer. I'm Paul Catalina. We've got a lot to get to this week, guys. A lot. But first, we do what we always do and tease Grayson because he can't be here and have our first sip of Brotherwell. Oh, man. As I am the Bridge Street Vit, and Steve was on the Hidden Herd tonight.
Ooh, I needed that.
Oh, yes.
I was a little parched.
Especially after the issues we had with Zoom and Skype. By the way, good news for the both of you. I'm going to put all my money, all my savings, into the bank of Skype because it's easier to get into my bank account than it is to retrieve my Skype password. That's what I found out tonight. That's what we were doing earlier. That's why we're a little bit delayed. But sorry about that. But there's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
There's a lot going on around the league. Some really interesting stardom sit-ups. My friend Stacy sent me a lot of questions he has. We're essentially going to set his lineup for him this week. So if he doesn't do what we tell him to do, then why did he waste our damn time?
Yeah.
But he sent us a lot of questions, so we'll get into that. Also, just let's start with the Cowboys and Cardinals the other night, Steve, because that was kind of an interesting game fantasy-wise in that Kenyon Drake run cost people a lot of wins or money right at the end of the game, didn't it?
Yep. me included. And I won't say a lot of money, but
I mean, if you add up, okay, everybody like you who could have won $40.
Yeah.
And, I mean, think about it. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a weird game. It was high scoring for one side. Last week we were saying that'd be a game that probably both sides could score a lot, but the Cowboy offense is horrible. That offensive line they're pulling people off the street right now. But Kyler Murray's a real deal. He was incredible. Kenyon Drake finally put up some decent fantasy points, and you referenced that garbage touchdown at the end where the Cowboys clearly weren't in their lanes, and he just ran right through the middle. So there was a lot of talk the next day for season-long teams, how you were probably winning, you were feeling good, and then all of a sudden that happened and you lost or you won. There were some people that won or lost just on the extra point that followed after that. So, yeah, something like that had a lot of significance.
Yeah. Grayson, how much Zach Martin being out for however long he's out and the Cowboys' woes on Monday night change? You're going to play Zeke. You're probably going to play Amari Cooper, maybe CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz in a pinch. But do you really kind of maybe worry about Cowboys players now down the stretch?
I somewhat do, but one of the big things that I took away from the game is the Cowboys are going to be down in a lot of games, just like they were with Dak, and they're going to have to throw the football. So in fantasy football, we don't really care about the garbage time points. They still count just the same as a normal game script. So I feel like CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, like you said, and Zeke are guys that you can definitely play. The one that I am concerned about that I think is kind of left out is Michael Gallup. I just don't think you can trust him right now. He's a guy who I would probably just go ahead and drop because I don't think you're going to be able to predict the weeks when he has big games, and that's an issue.
Now, I partially agree with you about Gallup, but when they were down in the end zone there were 3 straight plays where Dalton tried to get it to Gallup.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. So I do think he's kind of their tall, toss it up in the corner and hopefully he can catch it. But that may be the only value he has at this point.
Yeah, and if Dak was still there, I would say that's probably different. But And again, you're probably going to play him in a flex and a bye week. That's when you'd play Michael Gallup, especially as you get deeper down the line. A lot of interesting kind of injury, not necessarily injuries this week. I mean, there wasn't a Dak level injury this week, but a lot of interesting things that went on. Think about guys like Tim Patrick. Chase Claypool had a second good week in a row, and it's really thrown the Steelers wide receiver situation into flux fantasy-wise. I mean, it's not for them. They're enjoying it. It doesn't matter who's there. Yeah. And Roethlisberger's just feeding. James Washington has had a couple of decent games. I don't know how much fantasy value he really has, but again, they've got 4 wide receivers there that can all catch the ball, and it's kind of made that really confusing considering that going into the year you think Juju Smith-Schuster. So Steelers-wise, we'll start with you, Grayson. Just tell me what to do. They burned us on our our showdown last week with Deontay Johnson not playing, and Juju might as well have not played. So what do we do when it comes to the Steelers?
Yeah, so I still think the pecking order is, and I know I'm going to sound crazy for this because Chase Claypool has had some good weeks, but I'm going off of the games when Claypool and Deontay Johnson were both out there, and Deontay Johnson was the target hog in the offense. So I still think he's the number one when he plays. I would put Claypool at number 2. I'd put Juju at 3. And those are the 3 guys that I would still roster because, again, you're just predicting things with James Washington. You're just hoping that he has a big week. I think the other 3 are going to be pretty consistent for you. Usually, I know Juju was terrible this week, but I do think he still has quite a bit of value, and there will be games where he has great matchups, and I think that will help. Could be one this week, honestly, but I think the thing we need to watch is this week when Deontay Johnson comes back, what do the targets look like? Because in the first few games, it was all Deontay Johnson and Juju and no Chase Claypool.
Yeah, it's really confusing. Steve, I mean, obviously James Washington is somebody you'd have to add if you're desperate and the other guys are injured, but do you agree with his top 3 as he assessed it?
Yeah, and if you need to make some decisions this week based on you got people off and you got to pick up someone and you have to cut somebody, out of those receivers, I would think Washington would probably be the one that you could cut. Claypool clearly is going to have a role moving forward. I think him and Roethlisberger have really gotten in sync here, and they like him. So Washington would going into the season with someone I thought might be a dark horse, but now I think it's clear that he's at the bottom of the pecking order.
All right. So any interesting things, Steve, this week that you see as far as pickups, people you need to kind of watch out for?
I think the one main injury would be to Mostert in San Francisco. So the guess would be that McKinnon would be the one to pick up. He's available in a lot of leagues.
He actually did well in the 2 weeks that the 3 weeks that he played.
Yeah. So if he's out there and you need a running back, I would definitely pick up him. And then for Philadelphia, they play tomorrow night. Miles Sanders will definitely be out this week. They've already ruled him out. He's probably not going to miss too much time, but Boston Scott would be the one that you'd want to pick up there.
I have a fantasy lineup that has both those guys in it.
There you go.
I have to. I have no running backs there. Grayson, I do have to give you a little bit of credit in that you have said about playing Matt Ryan, who is one of my fantasy quarterbacks, that he's never any good unless Julio Jones is in the lineup.
Yes.
Well, Julio Jones was the old Julio Jones, and Matt Ryan had a gigantic week last week.
Yeah, he was fantastic. And I think if you notice, the whole offense was fantastic as far as Hayden Hurst had a big game. Calvin Ridley was solid. Julio obviously just went completely berserk. So it just helps the offense as a whole. It makes things easier for those guys to get open. And so I think, again, if he's got Julio and he's got a good matchup, I think you have to play Matt Ryan. And honestly, this week's going to be a really interesting matchup. They got Detroit, and he might be a guy that you might throw out there. And then on the flip side, Matthew Stafford might be another one that you throw out there when they're going up against each other. I think that is the bonanza of the week.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the games that has the highest point total from Vegas. Yeah. It's at 55.5, which puts it at the third highest for the week. So that potentially could be a shootout.
Yeah. Okay. Chargers running backs. What's going on there? Which Josh do you get?
At first, I thought it was Kelly because he was getting reps when Eckler was there. But now it seems like Jackson. But I just saw Jackson pop up on the injury report as questionable. So my advice would be to stay away from that situation this week if you can. All
right, Grayson, do you second that?
Yeah, actually, guys, coming into the year, Justin Jackson was one of my top guys. I was so excited to add him late in rounds. I thought he might eventually take over as, some of the early down work from Eckler. But he just keeps getting hurt, so that worries me for sure. But I do think if he's able to play, I think he's the guy you want to play. And in a matchup against Jacksonville, I actually think Justin Jackson's a pretty good start this week.
Yeah, by the way, Chargers defense, I picked them up because, Gardner Minshew moves the ball, and actually Fortunately, he's not been a bad plug and play when you have a bad quarterback situation. He's been fine for me in one league, but ultimately he's going to throw some picks.
Yes.
Somebody's going to fumble the ball. So you're going to have a pretty decent week playing against Jacksonville. I had a nice little stretch of doing what you do, Steve, of who's ever playing the Jets. Who's ever playing the Jets, I'll pick them up.
That worked well for me this last week because I was able to get Miami in a couple leagues.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, I mean that had me hopeful in a DraftKings league for a little bit, and then those later games happened.
Yes,
those later games happened. But again, so that's kind of what's going on as far as pickups and new injury news. When we come back, we'll get into DraftKings. We'll do our showdown league for this week, which is there's a Thursday night game. It's the Eagles and Giants. It's like crap fighting vomit. I don't know, what you'd rather, what would you rather step in? I don't know. That's the kind of game that you see tomorrow night. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna navigate through it. We're gonna have to pick some skill players from the New York Football Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, who have not really done that well this year when it comes to that. So this will be one of our greatest challenges, and we have not really done well in these showdown leagues so far. We always seem to pick a guy who's injured and then don't swap him out. That's kind of been a problem.
That's on you.
I blame Grayson.
Well,
I mean, Grayson's supposed to
you have access to the roster up till the minute.
But Grayson's supposed to tell me, hey, man, let's do this. Yeah. I've got a radio show that goes until 6 o'clock. Goes until 6 o'clock.
Give me your DraftKings password. I'll help you out.
I trust you in everything other than our league that we're in, where you need to get Grayson in on that one. In our league that we're in, where you'll just be like, oh look, you know what? I don't think you.
Where I've won 4 in a row.
Yeah. You don't need. You're not afraid. You're not afraid. You're not afraid of me. So, all right, when we come back, we'll go into daily fantasy, things you should do for that. Plus, we'll do our Showdown League. This is the Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick, Pontiac GMC Cadillac, Pontiac. My gosh, that's old. I went old school. But thanks to Brotherwell Brewing for making me forget my mistakes.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Carr has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show here on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, and our good friends at Brotherwell Brewing. Yeah, too bad Grayson's locked in the Austin Bureau there. Can't come up and enjoy some freshly delivered Brotherwell Brewing, just right down the street, 400 East Bridge Street.
Yep.
And by the way, great news for Brotherwell Brewing and breweries and bars across the state, and that they can open again at 50%. So safely go and enjoy.
Yes.
Socially distanced there. But if you've got an opportunity, they're open again. They were very thrilled about it. I actually talked to a friend of ours today, a mutual friend of ours, Brian Brown, who is a partner in 3 different bar-type establishments, including the Backyard. And just the things that they've had to go, like, bars have had to go through.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like the state had no plan for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, they just kept kicking it down the road. So please go support your local bars and breweries.
Especially now
If you can.
while this window is open.
Yeah.
Like
support them,
hopefully
be
it'll
safe,
last,
be safe, be socially distanced,
Yep.
but go support them. Especially if something like Brotherwell, it's made right here in Waco. Support the stuff that's made here. You want to buy made in America. Well, you want to buy made in the town that you're in too.
There was just very briefly the history of Waco craft beer. When I was at Baylor in the 80s, there was a local brewer called Bosky Beer, and they made some good stuff. And this was really before the craft beer movement took off. So they were really kind of ahead of their times. And I think they got bought out and maybe got a little bit over their head, and then it was gone. And then it was a barren wasteland in Waco until just maybe 4 or 5 years ago when we started getting some more craft breweries here.
Yeah, and so Brotherwell, again, go visit them right down the street from us. They always have cool events, too, where they have food trucks or live music, or the East Side Market, I guess, every third Sunday, which I guess will be coming up this Sunday. So all that's going on, and that's a good plug for our sponsor. All right, so let's, before we get into the showdown, which we're going to lose $1 this week, so just we're going to say, our loss of $1 this week, in the Showdown League. Let's go through some daily fantasy plays. Steve, we'll start with you. Some guys to look out for with good value. Sometimes like last week, I kind of got desperate and I made a big play. And here's why I lost. I said, you know what? I've done good in everything else. I did really well. I did Aaron Rodgers, who just wrecked me all over the place. Cost me the game in the league that you and I are in, and it's just bad.
Yeah. I had Rodgers in some season-long leagues and some of my daily fantasy lineups, and those rosters did not do well for me. So, looking at my notes here, I'm an old man. I have to look at my notes. I'll tell you somebody I've really started liking. Rookie quarterback is Justin Herbert from the Chargers, and we just talked about the Chargers. They're playing Jacksonville. I think he's built a pretty good connection with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, his receivers. So this week he is 6,400.
Yeah, he's been in the 6,000s the last couple of weeks.
Which is a pretty good value. Grayson mentioned Matthew Stafford. Again, that should be a shootout based on what the over-under is. He's at 6,500, so I like both those guys. Running back, we already mentioned McKinnon. I don't have his dollar value here, but I'm guessing he's probably going to be 5,500, 5,600. So he could be someone you could plug in kind of cheap. I also like Kenyon Drake again this week. We thought he might be on the chopping block as far as losing his.
But he played the Cowboys.
He played the Cowboys. And let's be honest here. You really want to – you can honestly look at whoever's playing the Cowboys and plug those opposite players in, and they're probably going to do well. So this week – it would be Kyle Allen at quarterback, if you want to go cheap at quarterback. Antonio Gibson at running back. He'll probably have 100 yards.
Terry McLaurin.
And Terry McLaurin. Those are the ones you want to
Logan
target.
Thomas, maybe.
And then on the flip side, I'm seeing if I have the Redskins value here for defense. I don't. It's probably 2,400. But the Redskins, that defensive line they have in Washington is made up primarily of first-round draft picks.
All 4 of them are,
Yeah, they're good. The Cowboy offensive line is not. So you could plug in the Washington defense, and you're going to get some points for sacks and probably some turnovers.
You don't say, Steve. You don't say. So, the Cowboys defense, by the way, is, I don't know if you saw the graphic, this is the worst defense in about 60 years in the NFL.
And they're on pace to give up the most points ever for in the history of the NFL.
We hadn't even been to the moon yet. Like, that's how bad the defense is. No one had been to the moon. Like, that's how bad their defense is. It predates the moon landing.
Yes.
It's just that bad. Grayson, your ideas on daily fantasy this week, some guys to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, so I mentioned Matthew Stafford versus Atlanta. He's at 6,500. I think he would be a good play if you wanted to spend a little bit. Also, if you wanted to spend kind of close to top dollar, Kyler Murray at 7,100 as the fourth quarterback. Give me that all day against Seattle. I think that's going to be a shootout. So if you want to spend, Kyler Murray would be my guy. If you want to save money, I really like Joe Burrow against Cleveland. That Cleveland defense does not do well against the pass, and he's only $5,500. I mean, I would take that in a hurry. At running back, this week is a big week in particular for the top running backs. I'd like to spend kind of the higher money on two of these guys. I love Aaron Jones' matchup against Houston. I think he's going to run for however many yards Green Bay will allow him to. And I also really like Kareem Hunt against Cincinnati. Aaron Jones, 7,200, Kareem Hunt, 6,800. But any of the top guys you want to add, they have great matchups this week. So I would look there before trying to save money at that position.
All right.
Wide receiver, y'all mentioned Terry McLaurin. Love him against Dallas this week. And I think he's at 5,800. So he's great value. And then a guy we also mentioned a little bit earlier who's a sneaky play, but I'm telling you, I think it's going to be worth it, is Deontay Johnson at 4,200. I think that is a steal against Tennessee.
Yeah, and again, probably wait until the last minute on that one because his injuries. But yeah, I mean, if you can get him at the last minute, I would say that's a really good one. All right, okay, so this is where we lose $1.
All right.
This is where we lose $1 in our showdown.
So far, we're in the hole $9. We've
Yeah.
done it 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, 10, because 1 week was $4.
Okay.
Because I didn't scroll down far enough. But yes. So we're in the hole $10. All
right.
$10. Like, let's say we're in the hole. I'm in the hole $10. I mean, this has been a collect. We're not passing the plate here. I'm in the hole $10. Okay. So we have a showdown league. It is the Giants and the Eagles. Steve, I will let you have the first pick this week.
I get to pick the captain?
You get to pick the captain. Grayson did last week, and it was Deontay Johnson,
All right.
who he clearly wants to be really good friends with. I mean, like, I'll have him at your birthday party, Grayson.
I'll
take the L for that.
For my captain, I'm going to go with Fulgham, the receiver.
All right, that comes in at 13-2.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Grayson, you know what? I'm going to make Grayson two picks to try to salvage this.
All right.
All right, I am going to pick. Florida State legend Devontae Freeman.
All right. How much is
I like it.
$7,400.
He just real quick on him. Each week that we've gone on, he's gotten a little bit more of the running back duties, playing more of the snaps. So he's the clear number one there, and I think this is a good matchup for him.
Yeah. All right, Grayson, two picks.
Yeah, the first one, I know y'all aren't going to like this because I'm going to be spending a lot of money, but I think we need to take Carson Wentz in this matchup. He's been playing a lot better recently, and I think he'll throw for a few touchdowns at least, but I think he's got the upside to have a huge game.
All right, $10,800 on Carson Wentz.
All right.
But we didn't get him at the captain spot, so we save a little money. Okay, Grayson, your next pick.
Yeah, guys, this one is making me sad because I really want to say Dallas Goedert, but we don't know if he's going to play. But if he is playing, that's who you want. That's who we would want. But I guess since we're not going to take that risk this week, how about we just go with, I guess, kind of more of a sure thing and maybe go – or actually, I'll go down the list a little bit. Let's go with Golden Tate this week. That should save us a little bit of money.
Yeah, $6,600 left. We have $12,000 left.
Okay, 2 spots.
2 spots. See, now we're kind of out of players. Like, this is why this is challenging. We're kind of out of players, and we're out of, like, money for the players that cost. Because this game is weird because there's not a lot of people down the roster for these teams.
Well, I don't think Ertz definitely isn't going to play, and Goddard I really don't think is going to play. So who is the next tight end for Philly because they do throw to the tight end. So whoever that is,
Richard Rodgers.
Who is it?
Richard Rodgers. I think he had 3 catches for 31 yards last week, I think.
All right, so he's at $5,000. So you know what, Steve? I'm gonna make that pick on your behalf, and we have $7,000 to spend.
All right.
All right, so $7,000 left.
Who's the top available at that price?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of decent people that we could go. Like, we could have actually gone and gotten Greg Ward at 4,800, and then that might be able to allow us to boost up Richard Rodgers a little bit and maybe pick up somebody that's going to contribute.
What about Boston Scott? What's he
Boston Scott is $8,000.
They've got him up there, yep. What about Clement, Corey Clement?
5,200.
How much do we have left?
7,000.
So who's the closest to that value that we could get?
Jalen Hurts.
No. Who's next? I'm making you scroll with your left hand.
Sterling Shepard is on IR, but they're listing him at 7,000.
No.
So then it's okay. So here's where we're at a problem.
Just give me some names.
Okay. Deshaun Jackson.
No. He might play, but it's too iffy.
Yeah. Corey Clement, Greg Ward, the Eagles defense.
Give me Clement because it's going to be a running back by committee with him and Scott.
Okay, so you don't want to, with our remaining $1,800, boost up and get somebody that's, well, we couldn't really because it was.
You're still in the same.
Yeah, we're still in the same boat.
Yeah.
So we're good with this lineup, which is Travis Fulgham, Devontae Freeman, Carson Wentz, Golden Tate, Richard Rodgers, and Corey Clement.
Now, so the lineups that usually win this and the big money ones are the lineups that usually have money left over. It's kind of odd. That's kind of an odd lineup. So we might be in good shape.
Okay.
If everybody plays.
Grayson, are you
We
okay?
need Goddard not to play.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't think
that's
Goddard's
right.
going to play because it's tomorrow night. I think they'll wait another week.
Well, so if what's Goddard's value on there? If he does play, do we have enough to switch at the last minute, take Rodgers out with the extra money and put him in?
No, he's at 7,800.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
So,
We're good.
We're good?
Yep.
We're good. All three of us. The Knights of the Round Table here. We're good. We're going to do this. Armstrong, are you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, Armstrong has no.
whatever.
Armstrong has no skin in this game.
Hey, you know what? I actually discovered last week that I actually am on a fantasy team.
Oh,
I auto joined and it auto drafted.
Week 6, you figured that out?
you
yeah,
probably missed some.
He's probably.
lineup.
I'm like 3-3 or
I'll say
something
he's
like
probably
that.
has a winning record.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Steve, in the break. Go punch
Yeah.
Armstrong. Go punch Armstrong. All right, I'm entering this.
All right. Do it.
Enter this lineup in more contests.
No.
not going to do that. Okay, when we come back, we're going to go through start 'em, sit 'em. My college roommate, Stacy, has sent us a lot of questions.
Good.
A lot of questions. A lot of good ones. A lot of real well thought out questions that he said I just threw these together, but it seems like he
put some thought into it.
He put some thought into it.
Good deal.
So Stacy, who is our contributor this week in the questions, we're going to go through his stuff. We'll go through you guys' stuff first, and then we'll dive into Stacy. It's going to take a long time. He needs to look in our league, in the league that I'm in with him. Albus Fumbledore is the name of his team, and Albus Fumbledore is 0-6.
Oh dear.
So it is not good.
He needs our help.
He needs our help. And then he's in another league. He sent me the lineup last week, and I would kill a guy for this lineup. I would kill a guy. Not anybody that nobody cared about.
Yeah,
but like a hobo or something. I don't know.
God.
No, absolutely not. I'm not advocating that at all.
I don't approve of that.
No.
You're on your own on that one, buddy.
No one does. I'm getting desperate to win a league, okay? Yeah. It's getting that bad.
Clearly.
When we come back, start 'em, sit 'em, and Stacy's problems and Paul's moral compass on the Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, and Brotherwell Brewing.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show here on Sikkim 365 Radio, presented by Brotherwell Brewing and Richard Carr Buick Pontiac GMC. Pontiac, I said it again, Cadillac GMC. They used to have Pontiacs there. Pontiac is not a thing anymore.
I used to drive a Pontiac. It was a 1987 Pontiac Phoenix.
Did you get it from there?
No, got it in the Dallas area. It's a Pontiac Phoenix, one of my favorite cars.
Let me tell you, Richard, they could probably find you a Pontiac if you wanted one. But mostly if you want a Cadillac or a Buick or a GMC, that's where you would go. And also thank you to our good friends at Brotherwell Brewing, as always. All right, guys, start 'em, sit 'em for this week. Steve.
All right. No, let Grayson go. I feel like sometimes I go first and he has to scramble for different names.
Grayson, you are first.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with the quarterback spot. And my start of the week this week, if you can find a way to get him in your lineup, I would say it's either Matthew Stafford or Matt Ryan. Those are two guys that are hovering right around that number 12 spot as a fantasy quarterback. I know Matt Ryan moved up some, but I think those are two guys that are going to have a really good week going up against each other. So I like both of those guys. As far as a guy who's kind of on that line that I probably wouldn't start, I'm not a huge fan of Drew Brees this week. That Carolina defense has been miserable against the run, but very good against the pass. Matt Rule's done a really nice job there. So I think Drew Brees is a guy I'm probably staying away from this week. At the running back position, obviously you're going to start all the top guys, but the guys who are a little bit lower who I like, Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, both of Washington's running backs. I'd be fine playing with both of them. I think there's enough production for both of them to be successful, particularly in a PPR league. I really like them. Also, DeAndre Swift against Atlanta. He sneakily had his first big week as a pro last week. I think he gets it going again against Atlanta and has a big performance. Guys I don't like, any running back in the Jets backfield against Buffalo, not a fan of. Just stay away from them, please. Just because Le'Veon's gone, don't play any of them. I also don't love Le'Veon Bell this week either. If he does play for the Chiefs, I would not start him. I just think that's still CEH's backfield for now. Moving on to wide receiver, a guy that I really like that's a little bit lower on people's radar, I think, is Mike Williams. He had a huge week against New Orleans last week. And I think against Jacksonville, he's about to put up huge numbers for the Chargers, especially if Keenan Allen doesn't play. He's going to get all kinds of targets. Also love A.J. Brown this week against Pittsburgh. I think he's going to have a great showing, and I think they're going to be playing from behind. Guys that I don't like, John Brown against the Jets. I'm worried he's not going to play. He just doesn't look healthy to me, so I'd probably stay away from him. And then also Deebo Samuel against New England on the road. I would not play him either.
Debo is a kind of an interesting dude in that, like, I think late in the season, like towards the playoffs, he might be a sneaky flex play because once they kind of get him into rhythm, and it looked like they started to do that the last couple of weeks of working him in the offense, but once he's in the rhythm, he's the best wide receiver they have.
Yeah.
So once they get him into the rhythm, he'll be good. But right now, the way that offense is going, it's just he's probably a guy for the last couple of weeks of the season and into the playoffs.
Yep, I agree. Yep.
All right, Steve.
So quarterbacks, two that I like. I already mentioned Justin Herbert. I think that's a good matchup. I like how he's progressing with that team. I think Tom Brady is getting into a groove now. They have a pretty favorable matchup against Las Vegas. So those two, if you're making choices, do I start either one of these guys? Those are two to look for. Do not like Jared Goff this week. The Chicago Bears defense under Chuck Picano.
Somebody in our league dropped it, and I picked it up.
Yeah.
It was very fortuitous because I had somebody who was, I think, playing the Jets, and then I had to move them on because they were going at somebody good.
So they've only allowed 2 touchdowns this season to wide receivers. So I think Goff is going to have a tough game, and I think Andy Dalton's going to struggle just because he's not going to have time to throw. For running backs, I like Ronald Jones. He's keeping Leonard Fournette on the bench for now. So Jones, I think you can start with confidence, and he's going to be the main guy, at least for now. And I also like James White for the Patriots. I just have a feeling this week, again, the Patriots running back situation is one you typically have no clue who's going to be the guy. But I think this is going to be a James White week against San Francisco. I do not like where'd he go? We already talked about the Chargers situation. Just try to avoid that unless you just got to play someone if you have to. I do think, like Grayson said, Jackson's probably the one to go with this week. And then I think Chase Edmonds has moved down maybe another little step because Drake did well. So I would shy away from those two this week if you can. Receivers, I'm going to say it again, even though we've all said it repeatedly. Terry McLaurin for Washington. I keep wanting to say their old team name.
The football team?
Yeah, the football team. I think he's going to light it up, even with Kyle Allen back there at quarterback.
I've thought about rewriting that theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hail to the football team. Hail to the guys on the field now.
We haven't mentioned Michael Thomas. He should come back this week.
I have him in the league, and I kind of want to wait one more week, but
I think he's going to play this week. Okay. He had his injury. He had his punishment for whatever happened.
But then he has a hamstring injury.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he's going to play. They're going up against Carolina. I would shy away from DJ Chark. He just hasn't done much for Jacksonville. And then Odell Beckham for Cleveland. I think Baker is.
Odell Beckham said that COVID and he have mutual respect for each other, so it wouldn't enter his body.
Yeah.
He also is banned from LSU for 2 years.
I saw that, yeah.
For flinging that paper at players. Okay, guys. Okay, let's get into this email from Stacy.
All right.
So Stacy E. Reed, Esquire, attorney at law. Matt Ryan versus the Lions or Josh Allen versus the Jets?
I would go Josh Allen. The only danger there you have is if that game turns into a blowout, which it should, then Buffalo could end up running the ball a lot, or you could even have a situation where Josh Allen maybe doesn't play the fourth quarter.
All right, Grayson, Matt Ryan, Josh Allen.
Yeah, I got to go with Josh Allen. I mean, just the rushing upside. I mean, if he scores a couple rushing touchdowns, he's already probably going to be a top 5 quarterback on the week. There is concern about how many yards he's going to throw for because, again, he might not play a lot and they're probably going to run the football a ton. So concerned, but I would definitely, I think, go with the more sure thing, which is Josh Allen versus probably the worst team I've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay. Zeke, would it be time to trade him given Dallas's offensive woes, or is it time to keep him because he might get some more receptions because Andy Dalton seems to really enjoy dumping the ball off?
I would hold on to him just because he's still the main part of their offense. Only trade him if you could really get equal value back, which would be hard to do.
Yeah. Grayson?
Yeah, I'm with Steve on that, but I would say I wouldn't mind shopping him around. If you can get certain guys that have great schedules going forward, especially if you look in those week 15 and 16 matchups, if you can find someone that would, give you Dalvin Cook for him, I would do that. If you could find someone that could give you Derrick Henry for him, I would do that too, because winter is coming and we know what happens when Derrick Henry runs in the winter.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say this, though. The Cowboys have a great schedule coming up. The Cowboys have a fantastic schedule. If they were not hot buttered crap right now, there's people look at their schedule and go, oh my gosh, they've got 5 more games against their division.
Yeah.
All of which are bad. They have the Vikings and Bengals on the schedule. The only teams, and the 49ers who are average right now at best, even though, they got they played well the other night. But again, the 49ers, and then they have the Steelers and the Ravens, who are going to drub them.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can kind of scrub those away. But for the rest of the 10 games, 8 of them are games where they should get fantasy points in.
They should. And the winner of the NFC East is probably going to have a 7-9 record. And the majority of those wins will come within the division.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's awful. Okay, so here he called these good problems to have. A.J. Brown versus Pittsburgh, Chris Godwin versus Vegas, Robbie Anderson versus New Orleans, and Keelan Cole at L.A.
I'll let Grayson go first.
All right, Grayson, go ahead.
How many does he get to start?
It's 3 of them. So 3 of those 5.
Okay. Oh, then it's the first 3 you said. Was it Robbie Anderson, Chris Godwin, and A.J. Brown?
Yes.
Yeah, start those 3 for sure. Don't overthink it.
Okay.
Who was the 4th one?
Keelan Cole.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's pretty easy. You go with the first 3.
Okay. Okay, now he has an interesting question here, which I think you guys already answered about Mike Williams, but should you drop Mike Williams and pick up Tim Patrick? I say no.
No.
Okay.
No way.
No.
All right. So any other things? Okay, Grayson first. Any other things to look out for before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, so first of all, Miles Sanders, just think about his health. Boston Scott, obviously a solid pickup if you're able to get him on the waiver wire today or tomorrow. I would definitely look at that. We've seen these injuries that can sometimes last a while. Also, if you are a person that needs running back depth and you're kind of trying to find someone on the waiver wire, look at Tevin Coleman. I think he's getting close to healthy. I think Raheem Mostert could be out for a few more weeks. And I think when he gets back, he's going to be the number 1. I haven't been too impressed with the rest of the backfield. I think Coleman's got a shot to come in and be RB1 there. And he should be a guy that's rostered, and put him on your IR if you need to, but he'd be a sneaky pickup when everyone's looking for running backs.
Steve?
I got some questions on Twitter this week just from some brand new daily fantasy players. And if you're wanting to give it a try, here's a great way to do it. When you go to DraftKings or FanDuel has these same kind of matchups, play in a head-to-head matchup. You can do that for as little as $1, and it's literally what it is. You're playing against one other person, and it's a random matchup. They can see what your skill level is, so they will try to pair you up with someone of equal skill. So you throw in a lineup, you're going up against one other person, you pay $1, and if you win $1.80. So it's not much, but you can at least see and get a feel for how that works initially.
Good deal. Could we do a head-to-head where it was just like me and you?
Yes.
Like we could pick that and do that?
And me.
Yes.
And me? Yeah, we could do it.
I think so. I'll see if we can.
Let's see if we can do that.
Yeah.
There's a couple people who've asked me about that I'd like to.
Okay.
I'd like to help. Like how can I get into fantasy sports? I don't know anything about it, and I'd like to kind of, at least as daily fantasies, at least again, will you enjoy doing this every week?
Yeah.
For season long.
And again, for that, when you're doing a head-to-head or even the league that we have in there where there's 10 people playing, those are the lineups where you do want to have the studs. You don't want to go kind of off the norm. So you want to max out your budget. You want to spend as close to that 50,000 as you can, because those are the lineups that are typically going to win. It's those bigger ones where there's a couple of 100,000 people playing, that like the lineup that we just did on the Showdown. It's going to be one of those weird lineups where somebody odd just happens to hit. Those are going to be the winners.
Yeah, good deal. So again, since it's my dollar, I'm going to split our money differently, but I'll at least get my dollar back. I'll just say that. I'll at least get my dollar back. I'll get one, like 50 cents shaved off, or I guess, I don't know, 33 cents shaved off of either of you guys, and then I'll feel better about that.
There you go.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks again to our sponsors, Richard Carr, Buick, GMC, Cadillac. They used to sell Pontiacs, but no more because nobody makes them. General Motors kicked that to the curb. And Brotherwell Brewing, right down the street from us, 400 East Bridge Street. The Bridge Street Vit, right there.
Hidden Herd. Oldsmobile, that was another good GM car.
Yeah, it was. Gone. Gone. That's what we're going to do next week. We're going to just talk about old stuff that's not around anymore.
Awesome.
Typewriters. You miss them, guys? This is the Fantasy Football Show on SicEm 365 Radio. Thanks for joining us. We'll be online. You can download this whenever if you missed any of it. It's all there on YouTube, Facebook, the app, all that. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to SicEm 365 Radio. Good night, everybody.